Léonor, you are trying to get the whole family involved in the peer support, because we often think of peer support as being just other people with diabetes. You think of it in a much broader way of involving the whole family. Tell us about what you're doing in France, please.
Thank you, Bastian. Yes, that's exactly what we do. So I wanted to talk to you about Type 1 Family, which is an organization that I created 2 years ago. But before, I just wanted to talk about a little bit of my story, because that's why I created this nonprofit organization. So I was diagnosed in 2016, and I was already 24 years old. And when I got diagnosed, I got all the support from the doctors, and I was diagnosed at the hospital in France. And I was very lucky because, of course, there's a lot of countries where it doesn't happen like that. But there's still something that we are missing in France. It's all the peer support, and all the psychological aspect of diabetes is always overcome. Like we just see our doctor twice a year, and then we are left alone. So as a lot of you said, you learn a lot with peer support and by sharing with other people. So that's what we did with Type 1 Family. If I don't see the slide, Bastian, maybe you can.
It's on.
Show it. Yeah. So yeah, the next one would be our values. If you can change it, and it's about talking about diabetes, but in a modern and positive and inspiring angle. Because when I got diagnosed, I was looking for a lot of information online, and I realized that in France, we didn't have so many people like I could see in the foreign countries, sharing about positive aspects, or sharing about just their tips or their everyday life. And I thought it was really missing in France, something that could connect everyone, people with Type 1, but also the loved ones, because we live with Type 1, but our families, our friends, our wives and husbands, they also live with Type 1. And I think it's important to have a place where we can all talk about it without it being too serious, but more positive and modern. So in the end, what we want to do in our events is not talk about diabetes, sorry, but talk about life with diabetes, because that's what really matters. If you could go in the next slide. So I created Type 1 Family because in the associative landscape that we had in France at that time, I couldn't find one organization dedicated to people with Type 1. We had great organization for some sports or for children with Type 1. We also have a big organization dedicated to people with Type 2, but I couldn't find anything to talk to people I could relate to. So what we really want to do is empower people with Type 1 and their loved ones by helping the community with a positive and supportive attitude, and provide people with Type 1 diabetes with just a support system. Basically, what we do is connecting people, and then it's up to them. They can share, and there's no limitation to that. And it's important to say that we are independent, and what we want to do is something just friendly and positive, and not just focus on the negatives. If we can go to the next slide. So basically, we bring together and we want to inspire people with Type 1 and their loved ones. And what we do is we organize every month, or every sometimes twice a month, some afterworks, some picnics, some meetups. And what's really important is that it's just going for a drink or going for lunch with some friends. And yes, you're going to meet people who actually
I think we lost Léonor.
actually understand, but it's not so serious that you're going to have, because it's a fun, yes.
Léonor, I think, you're back. I think you're back. Continue.
Sorry.
There was a shortcut in your internet connection. Go ahead.
Sorry. So, the events must be fun so that it attracts all people with Type 1, but also their loved ones. And we also organize the Type 1 Family Days, and you can go on the next slide to talk about this. During the Type 1 Family Days, what we do here is an example of a program of the last one that we have. We have the inspiring meetups. And in these conferences, the idea is to share our experience, to show different facets of life with diabetes, whether it's starting a business or cooking or owning a YouTube channel, or realizing incredible challenges. And any other topic you want to share about, what's important is to show that you can live an amazing life even with diabetes. On the next slide, you can see some pictures of the events we have. So it's sometimes very serious with conferences. Sometimes we go to schools or we educate people, and sometimes we just go to Disneyland. The idea is really to educate, to encourage, and to empower people with type 1 and their loved ones. And in the next slide, I just wanted to show some of the events we did. And what was very challenging in 2020 was, of course, COVID. So what we did was coming up with events on Zoom, exactly as we are doing today, but more like drinks that we have after dinner, for example. And we had once a month a meetup with all the members of the organization. We are around 100 right now. And it works perfectly because the idea and what people want is just connect and share with each other. And even online, it works perfectly. And that's how we try to support people even during this time of crisis. And one last subject is the next slide. It's about our challenge, Type 1 Challenge, that we run during November. So with the Type 1 family, we organized a challenge where you have to share about one topic every day and help raising awareness about Type 1 diabetes around you. So if you want to join, we will launch it in the next Diabetes Month awareness, and it would be really great to have all of you. And well, we can go to the last slide. So if you want to contact me, you can contact me on Instagram, T1D Léonor. And just to conclude, what I think is that it's simply incredible to see the strength and the energy that you can get from a community that supports you and inspires you. And that is what I try to do with Type 1 family, but this is also what I feel listening to all of you. So thank you everyone for building this amazing community. Thank you, Bastien and dedoc Voices. I think it's just amazing how you empower us.